Cybernation Uncensored.
Good evening, space explorers. How are you doing this week? You're doing well, good. I am your humble game master, Mistress Winter, and welcome to tonight's session of Star Trek Adventures. We had an exciting session last week where our away team went down to a desert planet. Were attacked with by silvery blade-winged birds and walked right into a trap that they were able to escape from and return safely to their ship. But we will get to that very shortly. Let's go ahead and do introductions. As I said, I am Mistress Winter. I am a writer, voice actress, and all-around ttrpg hobbyist. I like to do all of it. And graphic designer. I did do the intro video that you just saw. Yeah, that is me. You can find me at gmistresswinter on Twitter and Instagram. And over at my channel, Mistress Winter's Court, on Monday nights. All right, how about you, Juicy? Wunderbar. Thank you. And Jesse? Wonderful, thank you. And Twisting. A failed crafter. What is that? Well, thank you. I'm glad to have all of you. Unfortunately, we are down one crew member, a very important crew member, the captain, played by Anita. Hopefully they will be back to us next week. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and roll into our session. So as I mentioned, last time you had escaped an obvious fold trap, barely avoided being sliced into ribbons by the fauna of this desert planet, and had returned to the ship with the prize in hand, a device that would complete, at least you hope, complete your shielding from that mysterious mind manipulation slash mutation signal that is pervading all of the galactic core. So that is where we begin. Ooh, thank you very much. That'll be... Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Stingpalm007. They will be put to great use. I'm absolutely sure of that. So, the away team had returned. Everyone had scattered to rest after the harrowing adventure. The captain has retired for the evening and has given Lieutenant Commander Tellen the con. Yeah. He had been the one to suggest that the part was needed. Yeah. As the parallax hurtles through space, away from the planet, the galactic core, the ball of energy at the center of it, just casting perpetual light throughout the sector. Just... It's peaceful for the time being. And the crew seems to harmonize with that. There's been a lot of tension over the last week or so that you've been doing this. So many of the crew have retired to their quarters, are doing things privately, and the skeleton crew has set up for until a full crew is needed. Okay. Okay. Who... so that's going to include the three of you. Lieutenant Commander Para Williams, the engineer. Sorry, Para Miller. And Lieutenant Gary Popovich. Assuming that you want him there for discussion on that kind of stuff. Yeah, his eyes roll so hard. I would expect more professionalism from a senior officer such as yourself. You could get my name right, for one. It's Giddy! No. Giddy. Freaking Vulcans. They have no sense of humor. Yes, sorry, go ahead. You know what? I think that our audience is not hearing you.
Oh,
Not hearing.
There we go. Of course, nobody said anything. I just realized on my audio that you were not being heard. So I apologize.
Okay.
Do you want to start that again? I apologize.
Well, I'll give a quick synopsis. So we called a staff meeting of senior management. I
Yes,
guess
thank
not
you.
management, but senior staff. And we are talking about going back to Zytherian space, which is, I guess, like a 6-hour adventure. That's how long it took us to get to this planet. So roughly, probably 6 to 12 hours to get back to their space to hopefully develop the technology to build a shield around the ship to protect ourselves and the rest of the crew from the influence of that pervasive signal that seems to be in this sector. So then once we rendezvous with one of the Cytherian ships and prove to them that we did it, we will share the technology with them in hopes that they can, rather than destroy people they come across, help protect them as well. And then, I guess, continue on to try to find our missing admiral.
Yes. This canister that you found, or that we found on the planet's surface, should do the trick to complete the psychic shield, as it were. Though I wonder about this substance inside. It looks biologic. And concerns me just a little.
in what way?
Well, what is it? Is it living? Is it something that is going to die because we're channeling energy through it? There's so many things that can go wrong with it. Is it a limited supply? This is all stuff we don't know.
Perhaps I and the rest of the team should take a look at it to determine if we can reproduce it before we start using it for this technology that we have proposed.
Absolutely.
Was it scanned before it was brought on board? Do we have any readings?
No, we have no time to scan. We had to leap out of there before we got our we were carried.
Oh. Wow.
If the computer identified any pathogens in it, it would have been kept in the transporter buffer. So if it made it through the transport cycle, then potentially it's good.
Well, the transporter may have read it as already contained, though, being in the canister. Maybe we should perhaps look at the teleport log, see if it has any data regarding what it thought it was transporting.
Indeed, and we can keep the sample in an isolation box until we have further information.
Well, the Federation is familiar with biological use of biological matter to power systems. I mean, that's the biogel packs from the Intrepids. So it's not unknown, and the transporter may have interpreted it that way. So we'll find out.
Does it make it sense to keep it in sick bay or in one of the science labs, biology labs for now, because it's living matter?
Sorry, you kind of faded out there.
Oh, does it make sense to keep it in a biolab or in sick bay? Because it's living matter.
Perhaps in biolab. What do you think?
Biolab.
Tenant to pray.
Biolab.
Oh, well.
Yes, that was my recommendation by suggesting an isolation box.
We'll go with the doctor's suggestion, yes. Very good, Commander.
Okay. Sounds like we have a game plan then. Everybody will take some scans on it, figure out if we can replicate it, and if it's safe to keep on board, and start working on some kind of interface for the biological technical components.
Indeed.
Of course, and I will lead up that project unless Lieutenant Dupre wants to take it.
I do have personal interest in this project and would like to be involved.
Then it is all yours.
I
I
do
will
welcome your
simply just put it together.
I do welcome your aid, Lieutenant Gary, at all times.
Yeah, you know, I have other projects.
I'm sure you are busy.
I will
Can I
check
just
the
say, it is an interesting experience to attempt passive aggression as a Vulcan.
It is. Well, it's odd on this end. It's just like, how do I even respond to that?
It's because it's said so matter-of-factly that, like, the passive aggressiveness is almost lost, but then you're like, wait.
Well, I will be waiting in the biolab. And the doctor
please.
heads out. Oh, we weren't dismissed. I'm sorry. Totally didn't.
Yes, no, go ahead. You're
Oh.
dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, I assume the three of you, Dr. Madmika, Lieutenant Dupre, and Lieutenant Popovich will head to the biolab to analyze the sample.
Yes, that was my understanding.
And get that project started.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing, Commander Talon?
I want to check the transporter logs at Gary's recommendation.
Okay. All right. As you're heading to, where are you going to look at the data? Are you going like to the transporter room? Or are you going back up to the bridge?
I could probably check it from the engineering station on the bridge.
Okay.
And just route the transporter logs up to that station.
Mm-hmm. You enter onto the bridge. And you register that there are several bridge officers on at their stations doing their thing. Seems a little more full than you would expect with a skeleton crew. But perhaps somebody got bored and wanted to come work. But being single focused, you go to the engineering section and begin your look through of the data. If you will give me a...
Can I just make a quick scan of what, like, is it unusual that is there an unusual number of people on the bridge, or are they doing like unusual things? Like, is there a science officer at a security station or something like that that's like out of place?
You stop mid, entering your inquiry and turn. And there are two people on the bridge. When you first came in, you could have sworn there were at least 5.
Mm-hmm.
There's, the substitute helmsman. You've got an ensign at comms.
Okay. I will probably question my own sanity. Continue with this, and then maybe make a trip down to sickbay to check in with the doctor to make sure that I'm not affected by this genetic manipulation.
Okay. For the data, if you can give me an insight engineering.
Okay, I'm looking.
Difficulty 1.
11 here. All right, cool. So if this counts as computers, then I have 3 successes.
Oh, fantastic. That will max out your momentum at 7. The transporter, as you break it down into what it brought aboard, you've got, Vulcan, human, and I'm trying to remember when the captain is.
Trill.
Trill. That's it. Then you have the components of this device. Now, the metal alloy that makes up the container is not in Federation databases. It's got the composite and pulls it apart as far as like molecular structure and stuff like that, and it's just this jumble of different alloys and metals and stuff. But that's not the most interesting part. The most interesting part is that the biological component, the organic component of this tank reads as human, as Klingon, as Vulcan, like this whole slew of species DNA all mashed inside.
Oh, it's like a tube of Soylent Green.
Soylent Green is people.
Oh God. Okay.
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 All right.
I'm going to distribute this data to the various departments. So, like the alloy composition, chemistry or physics department can take that. So engineers can look at that. Maybe they can use it to fortify our hull plating or a shuttlecraft or something. And then I'm going to send the biological stuff down to where the team is with the actual container, and notify the doctor that there's some interesting results, Dr. Madmika, in the transporter data logs. I won't go over it right now. Take a look at the information I'm sending down to your station, and let me know what you think later on.
Okay. Yes.
And I'm coming
Looking
down to get my physical for the 6-hour cycle out of the way.
Here in the biolab? Would you?
Oh, sorry, in sick bay.
Would you rather be in the med bay or?
Yeah, I'll
up
go
to you.
down to meet with I guess Lieutenant Trosa. If they're still here.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's her.
Yep. Lieutenant Yalf Trosa. So you go to exit the bridge. And the doors slide open. Shh. And as you kind of look up from your feet, most people, kind of look down at their feet, while they're waiting for the doors to kind of open. And you look up, and there is something in front of you. And that something would remind you of old world TV static in the shape of a person.
Have I seen this shape before? Is this what Tupre and I were chasing through the halls?
It's there is possibly some resemblance. You didn't get a good look at the ghost you were previously hunting, or trying to bust, but this one, while translucent, is definitely visible, and it steps forward. And sorry, go ahead.
I just want to sidestep it if I can. Like, if it's going to try to walk through me or something, I'm just going to move out of the way.
Okay.
And maybe I'm going to hold off on visiting sickbay while these entities are on our bridge. And I'm going to send a silent security alert out if there's like a panic button under the captain's chair or something I can hit. To try to get to Prey's attention.
Sure.
And maybe like activate my comm signal somehow. I don't know if I can do this. Basically what I want to try to do is send like the ambient noise of the bridge, and I'm just like gonna try to mumble quietly to myself about how the like incorporeal beings we saw in the hallway are currently on the bridge. Please come. But like not in like a alert sort of urgent fashion, just like matter-of-factly quietly under my breath to like not raise the tone of the room, if that makes any sense.
The figure moves past you as you sidestep to avoid letting it pass through you. And goes to stand at the station behind the captain's chair. And just stays there. Its outline fuzzy and shifting.
Okay. Is that the tactical station?
Yes.
All right. Can I use any command codes to just lock that station out from where I am?
Yeah.
I'm over by the turbo lift, but I just want to like go around to a station and like start working again, like la 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 la.
You head over to the security station and quickly lock down that panel.
Okay, perfect. And then I will just chill and wait for Lieutenant Dupre to join me so that we can figure out how to communicate with this thing.
Okay. Down in the biolab.
Frey will receive the message and just... Gentlemen, if you'll excuse me, I have something to attend to. And then she will reach off to the side and grab her detector box,
Oh yeah.
strap over her neck, and just zoom out the room with no further explanation.
But what about the...
I have absolute faith in your skills, Lieutenant Gary.
One of these days to pray.
She's gone. So appearing on the bridge, the door's open, she's looking at the box. Is she detecting something on the box?
Yes.
And does it match what we had seen before?
Yes. In fact, you're reading several. Talon, as you sat there, in the time that it took to pray to get from a lower deck up to the bridge, you noticed that another figure formed in the captain's chair, and off in the engineering chair where you had been sitting.
Okay, so I remember from our very first episode with this ship that the admiral on Outpost Foxtrot or whatever was telling us that this ship, the previous crew like went missing. And that's where this ghost story came from in sickbay between Mad Mika and his crew and his like staff. So I guess there's actually ghosts on the ship. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pass Mad Mika $5 over this. Like, there's no such thing as ghosts. And I'm like, oh, okay, you win.
Acting Captain, this is absolutely fascinating. I'm getting multiple readings.
That moaning has started again.
I think we should get to work on trying to translate this and develop a way to communicate with them.
Agreed. If you will take this, and she will hand you her device.
I'm gonna put it on.
I have an idea. And she's gonna run off the bridge for a moment and go to like one of our material synthesizers, and like she's gonna check her notes quickly, and then she's just gonna type in a request for a Ouija board. She's heard about these. But she's gonna bring it up, and she's gonna lay it out on the floor with the the cursor thing on the board.
Yeah.
And just observe.
Just observe.
And see if something happens.
Okay. We will come back to that. Dr. Mamika, down in the biolab.
Yes.
You get the information from Commander Tellin. And that DNA reading of the contents of this canister are it's very intriguing.
Lieutenant Popovich. Is there a way to open the canister, or is it completely sealed?
Well, I mean, it's you don't want any of the matter to leak out, so it's pretty sealed, but you can break it open.
No breaking.
I mean,
I wonder if we can transport sample into another container, but I don't. It's very troubling. From the sensor logs, or from the transporter logs, looks like this is a conglomeration of DNA from all sorts of species. So, how would that be? How would that transfer energy to be able to operate the device? And from the other information that the acting captain sent, the container is an unknown alloy metal, and that's also been sent to engineering to see if they can figure out what it is.
the
We do
composition,
have
yes.
Yes. So we have that, so maybe we could try to replicate even just a small bit of that just from transporter logs without actually engaging with the canister at this moment. You think?
Sorry, repeat that. I missed that last part.
We're just gonna see if we can use the chemical structure and recreate it with the replicators and the inside matter, or no, the metal. See if we can replicate the metal and go from there without trying to open or do anything with the canister or move anything from the inside. Because if it is able to conduct the energy to help us with our shields to block the signal, don't want to disrupt the amount that's in there. Maybe the amount is important too. I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't want to at this moment try to take anything out.
To me, it looks like I don't know, like a battery of some sort. This is like a alkaline. It has all the fluid and the like the old Earth combustible engines. They needed a liquid battery.
I am not familiar with Earth history, its energy production. So, as he's talking, so out of game, I would like to make an insight engineering roll to see if I know how to confirm that actually is what it is. It is a battery. Do I need to do that, or is that not?
Yeah. If you will, go ahead and give me your insight. So you're trying to figure out like the whole, or the concept of the whole. So what its purpose and stuff is. Yeah. So yeah, that would be engineering. Yeah.
Okay. So
difficulty 3.
3.
Yes.
Okay. I lost my other D20, so I'm gonna have to do this a couple. So that, and then can Lieutenant Popovich, can he assist?
Yep. And then you can also use the ship's computer to
I can roll
scan.
to the ship because I have the sheet open.
Okay.
So in that case, because I've got to bring up the ship here too, just for.
We also have a bunch of momentum too if we need to.
You do. You have 7. So.
And a bunch of -2s. I think Cold Spider also gave us another one, so we have 4 now.
So you have 4. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Might not need the momentum.
For the ship, computers engineering would be perfect.
Okay.
All right.
What's the difficulty?
3.
4?
3.
3. Okay. I don't think I need to buy one.
Okay.
I don't have any focus. A 6 and an 8.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's so 2 success.
2
And I
successes.
have one.
Poplovich has another. So,
Okay, so four.
you have 4
Poplovich,
successes,
okay.
so you have 1 overage.
Do you want to
'Cause
spend that? We can ask a question.
Yep. You can spend that and ask a question.
Gain information.
So, first, is it a battery?
It is not a battery.
Oh, okay. So we've confirmed that it doesn't conduct energy. Right? 'Cause
Well,
that's what a battery does.
It's not a battery in the sense that it charges something or allows the operation of something. However, it does more resemble a conduit. So you almost like a converter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So with the momentum, unless there's another question I would like to ask, if all of species that have been used within the mix, are they all have telepathy genes, so that's what's being used as the fluid, and that's why they're all there. Psionic in nature.
No.
Okay.
The mixture is a hodgepodge of both psychic and non-psychic.
Okay.
However, they all have traces of the mutation.
Okay.
Of the fold mutation.
Okay. So now, Lieutenant Poplovich, how would you use the device to complete the technology? How would just gonna set it next to it, or what are you gonna do?
I mean, I don't think placement or location of this thing is going to aid our efforts. What I am considering is that we use this converter to best find the wavelength that it uses and be able to counter it actively rather than passively. Be proactive, not reactive.
Okay. So I would simply pass different wavelengths through it to see if something's actually blocked, because if it's blocked, then we know that's the right one. Right?
I think it'd be a little more complicated than that. We'll have to set up, like, we can set it into some sort of simulator, and we'll have to play with it to find the right frequency.
How long will that take?
I don't know. I've never done anything like this. This is uncharted territory, which I'm usually good at least in terms of space. Not so much in the engineering field.
I had a previous idea, and I needed your help to do that, and that would be to reprogram some of the nanoprobes, the Borg nanoprobes, to be able to interact with signals. So I can leave those with you, and you can use those as needed. They may help, maybe they will not.
Do you
but it's
have
an extra
enough
resource.
to for the entire crew?
Not at the moment, but we could. Eventually, we could have enough for the crew. And having some people, some of the crew resistant, I think would be invaluable.
I will play with a few options and see what comes up best.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
So, yeah, thank you, Lieutenant.
Oh.
And I'm so the doctor is going to hang out in the biolab.
Okay.
He's going to be looking at other stuff.
Okay. All right. Then we will go ahead and jump back up to the bridge where we are setting up a space seance.
Yeah.
Captain. Are you familiar with the ancient Earth tradition of spiritualism?
I have to say I am not. I am familiar with spirituality. Is it close to that?
My understanding is that they are mixed. The ancient practice of spiritualism was to commune with spirits through various tools. This, I believe, was one of those tools. It is called an Ouija board, if I know, and have read correctly. And the way this is used is by touching the cursor and asking questions of spirits to see if they can move the cursor with your hands.
I like this idea. This is awesome.
Given the presence we have proven and detected on the ship of what appear to be spirits, what I will say is they have proven, at least up until this point, to be benign. They may be willing or able to communicate with this means. I am unsure. I am unpracticed.
Well, they certainly ran away from us when we shot at them. So I think that they are aware of us in a way.
That was my thought as well.
So yeah, let's give it a shot. I would caution you against, or I would like to bring up cultural sensitivity here. Not everybody would be interested in speaking, and maybe that's okay.
Indeed.
So.
Although I would say with the recently increased presence, this indicates that, or at least visibility, of these spirits, as she points, it indicates that they have determined that we may be able to communicate with them and are attempting to communicate with us. Would you like to try?
Yes, I would.
I believe we get down on the... what were you going to say? I apologize.
Oh, I was just going to say Tellen will take like 5 minutes to just say a quick prayer to make sure that that like she's in the like emotional and like spiritual headspace to do this in a way that's respectful, because that's just the way that she approaches like her spirituality of like speaking to the prophets. So she'll probably take the similar approach of like she's about to go into like the Bajoran temple almost.
Okay. So you take some time to center and block out intrusive thoughts to the best of your ability. Sorry, what were you going to say, Lieutenant Dupre?
Captain, I believe it is customary to dim lights.
Oh, okay. Computer, dim lights.
Okay. The lights dim, and at that, the ensign who's sitting at the comms kind of finally looks up from whatever she's been doing, and turns to ask what's going on, and sees the staticky figures and just screams, leaping out of her chair.
Okay. Can I make some kind of command presence roll here to try
Yes.
to get her to... I'm just going to say, like, Ensign, remain calm. Stay at your post. Do not react in an adverse way to disrupt what we're about to do, please.
So presence and command, I think, would be...
All right. And...
and I will give you a difficulty here. Difficulty 2.
I'm just reading strong paw.
And I'm exerting
That doesn't
a complication of eerie environment.
Okay. What does that do? Does that raise the
Yeah, that raises
complication range?
Yes, so that'd be 19 to 20.
All right, so presence command. I need a 13. Oof. Okay, so no successes and one complication with a 19.
May I attempt to aid?
Unfortunately, if the leading person does not get any successes, aids will not.
They don't add in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ensign, lost in the panic of it, grabs a phaser
Oh gosh.
and fires at one of the static things. Hits it, and the figure turns red.
Oh jeez.
And the static begins to dance more wildly, and it seems to grow as it climbs out of the chair, and is looming and lurching for her in the corner. Excuse me.
I mean, she deserves this. So.
Wow.
This is part of the episode where the no-name red shirt just dissolves right in front of your eyes, and nobody ever talks about it ever.
Yep. No.
Yeah. Okay. Do I get a chance to do anything here? or
Yeah.
is
Please.
this-
Yeah.
Okay.
You to pray. You both get actions.
To pray, if you have something first, go ahead. I was just remembering that our force fields did nothing, so my
Right.
idea is...
I think she's gonna go for Hail Mary and just go, halt. Was this an ensign? What's the rank?
Yeah, it was an ensign. Yeah.
Halt. This ensign was scared and meant no intentional harm. We mean you no harm. Hoping that the words can make it through.
Sure.
We'll see if it
Sure.
works.
I'll
Either
just yell, hold fire.
I will say either presence command or daring and command.
I'll take presence command.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3. Shoot. Okay. I have one success. I'm going to use... Actually, I'm going to use... Can I use 2 -2s?
Yeah, please.
Because we have 3 at least. So
You
then
have
I'm
4
going to turn my
currently,
2
yeah.
into a 1 and my 16 into a 14, and that's 3
Okay.
successes.
All right.
And to celebrate that, we just got raided.
Oh,
Heck yeah, hello,
welcome
Raiders.
Raiders. Thank you for joining us in our Star Trek turned horror in space.
We're having a space seance if we can get these ghosts to not be so mad.
We currently have a Ouija board on the bridge of a starship.
Yeah.
What does a ghost need with a starship?
What does the starship need with a Ouija board?
The red static figure or we'll just call him Ghost, stops mid-stride, reaching out for the ensign, and seems to glitch out of existence before reappearing in the chair that they were in. Again, kind of a translucent white static.
Okay, great job.
Thank you. If there's a beat of like quiet now, acting captain, would you like to begin?
Yes, it seems that they can understand us, so this is a great place to make. Ensign, please return your phaser to your side and maintain your station. And let's start.
She drops it and just like breaks into sobs.
You are relieved if you need time. Feel free to take the afternoon off.
The helmsman will I'll take her to quarters, sir.
Thank you.
And will usher her away, leaving you both alone on the bridge.
Space seance. Okay.
Yeah, space seance.
We are the crew of the USS Parallax. Are you the crew of the former, whatever the ship was called before? I don't remember. Jesse doesn't remember the name of the ship before.
No, it's always been the Parallax.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So we are the current crew of the USS Parallax. The star date is something.
Current star date, yes. Yeah. Insert star date.
Can you hear us? Can you understand us?
All right. So to pray, you put down the board and the little marker. Do you know how to use a Ouija board?
I am going off of Lieutenant.
Did it synthesize or replicate with an instruction manual?
You know what? It did. It came with the whole box. Like,
whole box.
She's gonna open the box and then she's gonna read the instructions real fast. Acting captain, I believe we put our hands on this cursor.
Best board game library ever. Okay, yes.
Alright, so you both sit down and you both put your fingers on the marker like it suggests, and as the instructions suggest, to allow the crossed over to communicate and guide the marker to the letters and numbers and however it wants to communicate. The marker at first just kind of rocks back and forth aimlessly. And then there is a violent pull over to the right, to H, back to the left to E, back to the kind of center with L, back to the left with P, and it kind of wobbles in the center between S, T, and U.
Who are you?
Okay. The marker begins to spin and pulls from under your fingers, spinning like a top in the center of the board before it flings itself across the room, hitting one of the screens on the side and hanging there.
So spooky.
Fascinating.
Was it supposed to do that?
I am unsure. Dupre will go inspect. Did it, like, point at anything in particular?
That is a good question. It is pointing at the archives database.
Can I get up and use a computer's focus to try to figure out what it's trying to tell us through the archives? I don't know who Stu is, but it apparently wants us to help Stu.
STU, yes.
Well, it could have been STU or UTS or S or
UST.
or US. There's lots of.
See, this is why we're in charge.
Well, you remember, you're the ones who, like, almost blew up the ship. When you two are in charge, there's so many shenanigans, and I am so here for it. I love every minute of it.
Well, you were doing the critic check. I think Dupre's gonna grab the cursor again and bring it back over to the board. Very, like, simply.
As far as you were aware, when the ship was first, when it was being refitted for your journey, you know, the computer database would have been kind of factory reset, had all the information dumped, etc., etc. So with your computer knowledge, that will be a, let's say, insight. Insight security.
Okay, I'm going for a 13.
Okay. And we're going to go difficulty. Since you really don't know what you're looking for specifically, it's going to be a difficulty 3.
Okay. So if I hit, so my security's 5, I rolled a 5, and I have a focus in computers. 5 is 2 successes, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I have 2, and I'm gonna spend 1 momentum to roll another die.
Okay. Awesome. Go for it.
Okay, so that 2 plus 1, so 3 successes. Am I allowed to do that? Can I say momentum to roll an extra die after the fact? Because that's what I just did.
Well, yeah, because we hadn't, like, established success or failure at that point.
Because I knew that I didn't succeed, so I just added on another one, and I don't know if that's cheating.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you the difficulty up front anyway, so it's not like, you know. So that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
You begin trying an inquiry. You're like, where do you even start? But then the letters, kind of. That's a good place to start, anyway.
Yeah, try like anagrams of HELPUS, and then like T as like a maybe option.
You find that there are some ghost file paths in the database, and I mean ghost as in, like,
I was gonna say something.
You know, files that should have been deleted, but really just their parent and stuff had been deleted, but they're still there.
Okay.
You work your way through the system, and you find these isolated databases that really shouldn't have been there. And there is almost a progression of files that go SUT to the looks like some captain's logs from a Captain Trar. So that's TRAR. And the first couple of logs that you read through are the USS Parallax's journey into uncharted Dominion space, keeping to the outskirts, trying to avoid contact with the Dominion.
In the Gamma Quadrant? Okay.
And they were doing some scouting, some astrological or astronomical mapping. And the last entry that you have is that they were reading an anomaly that they were going to investigate. It was some sort of galactic anomaly, like something like a nebula or strange energy readings that were naturally occurring, but definitely not something that had been encountered before. And that is the last entry.
So that's the last of the surviving entries, right? So there could have been others that just were deleted when the ship was repurposed.
Correct.
Do we know the circumstances of the ship's, like, most recent past? Like, when did the previous crew go missing, and how was the ship salvaged? I'll spend a momentum if I can answer that question.
No, that's all right. This was stuff that had been provided up front by the Admiral Winters. That the Parallax had been found adrift on the edge of the Gamma Quadrant. All hands disappeared. Like, there was no record of where they were gone. There were a few crew logs that simply stopped in the middle of them. They were incomplete. Food left on tables just completely vanished. The ship was pulled into space dock and examined, investigated. They determined that all hands were lost without cause, and planned to park the ship, or kind of put it out until something could be determined, kind of like a cold case. Like, if more evidence comes forward, then we'll use it. But then the need for it came about, so they pulled it out of decommission and refitted it. And that process was about 3 years.
Okay.
From when it was pulled in to when it got refitted.
I'm going to, at this point, inform Dr. Madmika, because I'm wondering if your experience in the collective gave you any knowledge about some kind of anomaly that could do this. Doctor, we're seeing ghosts of former crew on the bridge. I owe you $5. I didn't believe it was true.
Well, I'm glad and sad to hear that. I don't call anything when I was with the Borg about ghosts. It wouldn't have been tolerated. Put it lightly. I'm going to run all of the DNA from that we found inside the canister. We have. I'm going to run it through the Federation database just to see if there's anything there. Hey,
How do you mean?
I'm serious.
Like, are you trying to identify the DNA or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We know it's Klingon, but was it a Klingon that was in the Federation, or is it?
Sure.
Just shot in the dark. We'll see how it works out.
Okay.
What would I roll for that?
So for that, it is going to be, and now you can get help from the ship, but that will be a control medicine.
Okay. Control medicine.
And then for the ship can use its computers and either science or medicine. I think science is the higher one. But it parsing through all of that and identifying it, it's going to be very difficult at a 4.
Okay. I would like to buy 1 d20 threat, and I'm using bold medicine, so if I get a d20, if I may re-roll a single d20 from this, and I would like to buy a 4th die with 2 momentum. I will be rolling a total of 4 dice.
Okay. So you said you were spending 3 momentum for 2?
One
No.
threat.
One threat
One
and
threat.
then 1 threat. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And two momentum for the second one. I think that's how that works.
I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2, because you bought threat or you used threat for 1. If you can use momentum.
Well, you can. I'm not sure if it's 2 or
if it's 1 or 2. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay.
2's fine. We have lots.
I mean, we have a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
We'll look that up later.
Okay. Okay.
On with the show.
Oh, a 1
Good. Oh, yes, good.
and a 17. So
that's
that's 2
2.
successes there. And then I haven't. So that's only 2 die that I've rolled. I had
Okay.
a 1, 17. Let's roll the other 2. 9,
That's 3.
12. I'm gonna re-roll that 17.
Okay.
So you're done.
I also have 1 success, so
Oh.
we can maybe get some more momentum back here.
A 17. So I only have 3.
Okay, plus 1 from the ship.
From the ship. Yep.
Okay.
The it's gonna take a little while to sort through all of the DNA that's mixed up in there. But the database as it begins to parse that information, will start identifying missing Federation officers, or Starfleet officers, and crewmen. There are missing Klingon officers as well, like, from the Klingon Empire. Romulan. It's a huge smorgasbord. So any information that has been shared between the federated species, it begins to pull out those individuals.
Oh, okay.
Well, Dr. Medmika, while you're running these scans, you begin to get pings to your console. There are many requests coming in from all over the ship for some sort of eval. Simultaneously, a Sedgwick and others are all pinging the bridge. Commander, this is Sedgwick. We're getting reports of intruders and invaders all over the ship. It's getting like a madhouse down here.
Okay, thank you for the report. Please remain calm. They're not intruders. We believe them to be the former crew of the Parallax. We are attempting to communicate with them. I don't believe they're hostile, so as long as we don't fire on them, we should be okay. So I'm going to make a ship-wide announcement and just fill everybody in. You may be experiencing
hallucinations, and you may hear voices.
Attention, Parallax crew.
I can imagine the captain just hearing the announcement in her quarters going, "What the?"
She
What are they
must
doing
think
now?
I'm fucking crazy.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Why is it that every time I leave Talon in charge?
Oh, no, this is fantastic. I'm absolutely loving this.
Attention, Parallax crew. Please remain calm. Do not engage with the incorporeal beings you are seeing in any hostile way. We are attempting to communicate with them and believe them to be the former crew of the USS Parallax. Thank you. Boo, boo, boo.
Oh, boy. Please give me a presence command.
That's my best customer service voice.
Yes. Difficulty 3.
Command. Oh gosh, okay.
And you still have that complication in play, the eerie atmosphere.
Okay. 13. Oh yeah, okay, so 2 successes.
Nice.
Let me see if I have anything that applies. Not really, no. Yeah, if the prophets will it, is this the thing? My value is so, like, nondescript, I don't know if it works.
If the prophets will it.
So that was designed to be, like, it's a last-ditch effort to do something, and it's life or death, and, like, the prophets will it, I will survive, or I will die.
Gotcha.
So I don't really know if that applies here.
I think, I think that'd be a little bit of a stretch.
I'm gonna say 2 successes.
Do you want to use any momentum? You still have 3.
Okay, yeah, I'll re-roll, or not re-roll, I'll roll an additional die.
Okay.
The momentum, sure. Thank you. Alright, cool. So, yeah, that's another success, so 3.
All right. Reports from the ship, from the various sector or sections will report that while there has been some upset, there haven't been any incidents
Love it. Good job,
yet. So your command has at least assuaged any kind of violence that may have instigated any incidents or anything like that. So, but I think this is a great time to go ahead and take our midstream break. Thank you all for being here. We hope that you'll stick around. We will be back just after 40 after the hour. So about 40, 45, we will be back around then. So hope you'll stick around and see what other ghost busting shenanigans our crew gets into. All right. We'll see you then. Bye. Hello and welcome back to Star Trek Adventures Flight Beyond the Veil. We are in the middle of a ghost hunt, or a haunting, as it seems that the USS Parallax's first crew that mysteriously vanished has now mysteriously reappeared, ghost form, on the ship. So, and we have been granted, or you have been granted another -2. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Cold
Thank
Spider.
you again, Cold Spider. A loyal watcher. So we really appreciate you. All right. So, the commander has managed to put the crew at a relative ease with these ghostly entities roaming the halls and various quarters. What's your play?
The prey is still on the dimmed bridge with the board. And I think she wanted to ask a couple more questions while we could.
Okay.
So she's gonna hold the cursor, hope it doesn't whack her in the face. And she's going to ask, "Are you alive?"
You know what? I had brought up an image of the Ouija board, so I know where the locations and stuff of this stuff are.
I had wondered, because you were getting the directions.
Oh, well, I will tell you just like personally, I used to practice paganism and all that other stuff. The Ouija board is the one thing that freaks me out, and I never ever
on both
touch
accounts.
it. What's that?
Disease on both accounts. I had a Wiccan phase in high school, and I've always been freaked out by Ouija boards.
Right. I mean, apart from it being the focus of several horror movies that, were prevalent in my childhood, it's just something about them just always freaked me out. Yeah. And then there was Paranormal Activity where the one just burst into flames. But anyway.
Memories.
Yeah, right. The marker again wobbles back and forth at the top of the board between yes and no.
Fascinating. And I think she'll ask, "How did this happen to you?"
The marker stills on nothing in particular.
Did they not know? Do you know how we can help?
Again, it stays still.
We will do what we can to help. Please be patient.
And it slides down to goodbye.
Are they still making noise?
Yes.
Okay. Could I write a computer program, maybe with the help of Lieutenant Dupre, to translate that into, like, if it's a language or if it's a form of communication, that we could just be recording and then trying to interpret ongoing, and then maybe if it gets a hit, then we can communicate through that, and it would be faster than Ouija boarding our way through conversation.
And
Sure.
remember that as focuses, I have linguistics and xenoanthropology and deductive reasoning. So I've got a lot of focus for just this problem.
Okay. Yeah, you can attempt to write a computer program, absolutely, to try and translate the mysterious moaning that's occurring in various parts of the ship. Which is going to be a reason engineering.
Would it make more sense for my computer role to be an assist to your translation, or vice versa? Because I'm wondering. Yeah.
It probably, because of my focuses, it probably makes more sense for me to take the lead.
Okay, let's do that.
And I already want to buy momentum here. I don't even know what the difficulty is.
It's going to be 3.
Yep.
Yep.
How much would it cost me to buy 2 extra die?
That would be 3 momentum, but unfortunately, we only have 2 currently.
Oh, we only have 2 currently?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, we've been consuming it. Excellent. All right, then I will just buy 1.
Okay.
Worth it.
Oh, I guess
Excellent.
I don't know what I'm
Okay.
rolling for. What was the roll?
To build a program, it would be reason engineering.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be the aid, whereas
Yep.
to pray, if you're taking the lead on it, being a xenologist.
Xenoanthropologist?
Yeah. I would say insight science.
Insight science.
Yeah.
Can I argue reason science?
Yeah. I mean, that was going to be my first choice, but I was thinking, since this is more intuitive rather than but yeah, I could see that you'd take, common forms of communication and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, okay. Then that is 3 successes.
+1.
+1. All right, that would grant you a momentum.
Nice. Yeah, a 10, a 14, and a 5.
Sweet.
The computer program begins to record the various sounds, filtering out ambient sound, filtering out crew members talking, and everything like that. Isolating just the groans and the moans. And it produces an audio file.
Nice.
Can I make a flavor request that we uploaded the software onto my detector box?
Sure. But yeah, it produces an audio file.
What does it say? Oh, I don't like that. Delete.
Just a scream. Yeah. That was the only scream on the Serenscape soundboard. I was
That's
like,
amazing.
I was hoping for something else. But I really haven't made my own thing here, so I work with what I've got.
Perfect.
But it's a scream of horror and pain.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Indeed. It sounds like they may be in an unpleasant position.
makes it sound like they're not having a good session of intimacy. They're in a bad position.
Certainly been a bad couple of weeks for them, I'm sure. Are we able to use the software to translate back? I guess we don't need to, because they can kind of hear us. So,
They seem to be able to understand, yeah.
I guess she'll announce to the ether, we have means of understanding what you say. Are you able to speak?
Your device listens again and produces just another scream of torment.
Acting Captain, are you familiar with the ancient film Event Horizon?
Yes.
I know I am. Oh my gosh, nightmares.
Actually, no, I'm
It's one of
not.
my
I was thinking
favorites.
First Contact.
Oh, no.
Or not First Contact. Contact. Not the Star Trek.
Oh, Contact. I don't know
Yeah.
that one, actually.
That's a good one, Jodie Foster.
Yes.
Okay.
That film had something that is evocative of this experience, with potential spirits who experience incredible pain. Although I don't think that these entities are as potentially harmful as those in that film. It is a certain parallel that those people were trapped in a different dimension before returning to the plane of existence on which we exist. Perhaps there is something we can do to bring them back.
Absolutely. I feel like they are trying to come to this side, if I can explain it in a way of like there being a curtain between here and not here, that they are pushing against it so that we can see them, but they are not fully here.
Though that is not necessarily a logical explanation, I do understand what you mean. Perhaps Lieutenant Geary could help us.
Okay. Let's return to normal duty roster on the bridge, and so we can leave.
Sure.
Indeed.
Because right now it's just the two of us and some ghosts.
Really, turn the lights back up.
Yes. Computer, resume normal lighting.
Yes. The computer chirps in response, and the lighting comes back up. It puts out the call for regular duty. Chort will come up to the bridge.
This poor guy.
Yeah. Who just kind of like stops short.
Yeah. Is there a ghost helmsman? Like, does he sit in the chair with the ghost, or does he like sit on the edge? I want to know what this looks like.
He's like sitting, like, you know, you have the two helm stations, and Ensign Short sits down, and there's a ghost in the other one. He's just kind of like side eyeing it.
Amazing.
Commander, since when did I get a co-pilot?
Well, I think it's been here the whole time, and this is just the first time we can see it. So, you know, act as you were the last few days.
Okay. Okay. All right. And you were going to see Lieutenant Pavlovich?
Mm-hmm. Ah, Lieutenant Gary.
Yes.
We have aid. We have
You
a
have-
request of aid from you. I apologize. I got jammed up with my words.
What is it? I am I'm busy trying to ascertain the nature of these phenomena.
Mm-hmm. I assume you heard the all hail from the bridge.
Yes,
It
yes.
appears. It appears we may be haunted.
Haunted. Oh,
Mika just whips his head around to you.
It does sound illogical, but we do believe that there is some presence from the prior crew of the ship still aboard, and they are trapped
I
between this
knew it.
world and some other. I have data to demonstrate we have detected them. There is proof. Whether or not they are ghosts is up for interpretation.
Perhaps not jump to conclusions about what these things are. They could be strange gas fields that leak on board. We could all be experiencing mass hallucinations. Like, but ghosts.
Well, possible. They do appear to be distinctly humanoid and capable of communication.
You've been communicating with them, eh?
Indeed. As a matter of fact, we've been able to translate some of the noises that they have uttered. Unfortunately, it is incoherent and painful screams.
Yeah, well... So, who you gonna call? Lieutenant Gary? I mean...
That is exactly what we had thought to do.
And what do you expect from... How am I going to help?
Well, given your experience with physics, it does appear that they may perhaps be in some form of superposition. Perhaps you may be able to confirm our results, and then be able to interpret the data to provide some means of bringing them back to this plane of existence.
Well, I can do some scans, do some tests, but I make no promises. He's
is
not
fine.
Ghostbuster.
Here. No, and here, I have made a device to detect them and interpret their data. I ask if that find some means of bringing them back.
Sorry, you're cutting out there. Quit mumbling.
Yeah, I think your microphone is cutting out.
Yeah.
Oh no, was it really?
Yeah. Sorry.
Apologies. I don't know what's going on.
I think it was just the internet.
Thank you for the heads up. I'll eat the mic a little more. It does appear that. Sorry, audience. That was gross. Yes, we will provide you with the tool that we have generated in order to determine exactly what they are and provide data about their nature. I would ask that you use this in addition to your own tools to identify how we might rectify this problem. I fear this may become unmanageable.
And while I am slaving over a hot scanner, what are you going to be doing?
Well, I did trust in your expertise, but if you feel you may fail to actually succeed in this endeavor, I will take over with my own skills. I thought yours might be better suited given your specialization in physics.
Yeah, well, one of us has got to be smarter, eh? Very well.
Of course, one of us must.
I will give it. I'll give it a go.
Good luck.
Oh,
I have faith in your skills.
far be it from me to make any assessments, but I mean, if you were able to focus on the frequency of the canister, I mean, it probably would be named after you. Popovich frequency. I mean, that's, would be only fair, right?
I believe we're talking about two different things.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Stick with,
just as long as that is
stick with the
understood.
battery. Yes.
Yes.
The canister.
Yes.
We need to fix that. We need to figure it out, not fix it. Figure it out.
Yeah, and we will. Just it seems we have a more pressing matter of the ship being haunted.
It's been haunted all this time. Right?
See, I knew I liked the doctor for something.
I really hope he pisses off a ghost and then comes running, screaming. That's what I'm hoping. Doctor, what are your present findings about the material we recovered?
Well, so on the screen, you start to see all of these different the photographs from Federation service, and so all of these individuals who have been missing, their DNA is in the mix here, literally. So we have some unsolved mysteries that have new leads. We know where they have ended up. Given what has happened to our crew, and we lost 6 members to the fold, maybe this has been happening for some time, and that is how these individuals disappeared. It's just a theory, but it fits the facts. So
That does appear to be a rational hypothesis. Yes, I would concur.
So these individuals, I mean, I don't know this, but they probably are deceased at this point in time. And I think that's what happens as we've seen the progression of the mutation, and they're turned into this liquid. It's very disturbing.
That is deeply troubling, I concur.
So those are my findings so far, and I'm simply waiting on the genius of Lieutenant Popovich.
It is genius, yes.
I love this dynamic. The trio.
Yeah, Gary will just kind of like, side eye to pray. With a smug smirk.
Excellent work.
So, Talon and to pray, are you gonna stay in the biolab? Or
I think to pray will.
okay.
I'm gonna make a trip to the transporter room.
Okay.
And ask for Lieutenant Commander Miller to meet me there, Chief Engineer.
Okay.
The doctor would like to make a request to go as well, and to possibly observe the people or new guests with the Borg implant scanners. It just he hasn't had any interaction with him whatsoever, or for that matter, the other beings that we met too. So,
Okay.
would like to go.
Your Borg scanners, what can they scan? Like, what do they read for?
They read particular. Let's see. Character can scan the environment like a tricorder, and tasks do not suffer an increase in difficulty due to darkness.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's it's like that Borg scanning the eye that moves up and down,
Sure.
and just for his own edification, I guess.
Okay. So the two of you are going to head toward the transporter room after Commander Miller acknowledges that she'll meet you there. Commander Talon, Please give me a fitness, security
Okay.
check.
Fitness roll.
Difficulty. Two.
Ooh, so I rolled a natural 1, so that's 2 successes.
Very nice.
And I got a 15, but I'm going to use one of our -2s to bring that down to a 13, so 3 successes.
Oh, fantastic. That'll grant you a bit of momentum.
And I think we have one more -2 left.
Okay. As you're heading toward the transporter, you round the corner down a hallway, and your vision tunnels very briefly. You feel your balance shift, like kind of like your inner ear just went whoa. But it corrects itself quick enough that you don't suffer any lingering effects.
Okay. This wasn't coercion or... I wasn't, like, coerced or threatened by this at all, was I?
No.
Okay. Alright, I'll probably just sway, like I got dizzy in the hallway and put my hand on the wall, and then keep walking.
Okay. Doctor, you're obviously privy to this. As well as one of these entities passing by in the corridor.
Okay. So, I'll turn to the acting captain and... Are you okay? Is everything all right?
So did it pass through me? I got dizzy there for a second. I lost my balance. Did the entity walk through me? Did I pass through it?
It came from behind and kind of passed through you. Yeah, that's when about when you experienced it.
Very unsettling experience. I felt dizzy and everything narrowed for a second, as if I might faint.
Oh, well, so the scan, he starts to scan the acting captain, and does he find anything wrong, or is everything look okay?
Are you just scanning the commander?
Just general, basic scan, health scan.
Okay.
Blood pressure, heart rate.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and give me a reason medicine. Difficulty 1.
Okay. Oh. So 2 and a 13. So I made it, but do I have a focus that would apply? Emergency medicine?
No, not really.
Okay.
So how many successes, sorry?
1.
1. Okay, alright.
Wait.
So
Oh, I got 2. What am I? I'm insane here. Yes, I needed a 15 and I got a 13 and a 2. So I got 2.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay. That'll give you another momentum. So, judging by Commander Tellen's current health, elevated heart rate, temperature fluctuation, maybe a dash of nausea, showing all the symptoms of motion sickness.
Motion sickness. Acting captain, do you think we can do that again? I would like to be scanning you while that happens.
Through.
Can we do that?
No offense, Doctor. I don't intend to do that again on purpose. However, if it happens again on our way to the transporter room, you're more than welcome to scan me again.
Okay. Well, that'll have to do.
I just don't. I
He's
don't
kind of
feel like
disappointed.
throwing up in the hallway is a good look for acting captain. You know.
Well, we have cleaners. We take care of that.
Little bot comes
And
out.
so he just keeps going.
All right. Okay. You arrive at the teleporter room, and Commander Miller sidles in, avoiding one of the entities as she comes in. What are we doing about these things?
Hello, Lieutenant Commander. Hoping that you can help us with this.
I would be happy to. Whatever these things are, it's making my life really difficult.
So, the idea that I had, and tell me if this is crazy, is to try to get a transporter lock on one of them and rematerialize them. I don't know if that's a bad idea or not, or even if it'll work, but maybe it'll give us a sense of what they're made of, at least.
I mean, do we know what they're made of? Have we scanned them at all?
Lieutenant Dupre has a scanner that she uses, which I wonder if it's still around my neck. I probably gave it back.
We
Yeah, I did,
handed it
because-
over to Gary.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. He's got the scream recorder. Yeah, what would I know about them? Did that scanner pick up anything, or was it just a detector?
It was really just a detector. Yeah.
We can collect more information. Dr. Madmika is very keen for me to encounter another one in the hallway. That might give us some specific information of what they're made of.
It would help if I had two subjects. So if you both encountered one, and that would be even better. Have something to compare it against. Not
Wait,
just your baseline.
what are we talking about here?
Oh, letting one of the entities move through you. Pass through your body.
Permission to pass, Commander.
Completely understandable. It's voluntary experience, not like if it
That does
happened,
not seem like a pleasant experience.
I can tell you it's not.
Without even touching these things, we've been experiencing all sorts of strange things in engineering. The plasma conduits have reversed flow in several sections. The warp drive has had some weird fluctuations in its shielding. I don't know what they are, but they're mucking with my stuff.
Does it look like they're touching things, or just their presence is interfering with the systems?
It doesn't seem like they're actively engaging with our systems. It just their presence is causing all sorts of havoc.
I have a theory.
Oh,
Chapre would probably be interested in this theory, so I will contact her. Lieutenant Chapre, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
I have a
acting captain.
theory.
How may I be of service?
I have a theory about these beings. In
What is that?
Bajoran culture, there is a positive and a negative life force. Then I'm wondering if, for instance, to the prophets we have power wraiths. For good we have evil. I'm wondering if these are the negatives of of us, of like the crew is somehow negative versions of themselves, that they are disrupting our systems because they are inherently opposite.
Do you mean to say that this is the negative version of the prior crew or this crew, current?
I think that this is the negative version of the previous crew. That they are
you have a
somehow
proposed-
reverse themselves.
Do you have a proposed mechanism for how that may have happened?
Well, I was investigating the logs of the previous captain, Trar, and he talked about how the ship was approaching a spatial anomaly during an astrological survey. So maybe that anomaly did something to them.
Are you able to recover any data about that anomaly?
Can
That may
certainly
prove
try.
useful.
Can I spend a momentum for an information?
Sure. Yeah.
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 Oh, we were rated, by the way.
Oh, welcome,
Including
Raiders.
C+ content.
Plus content.
Yeah.
Awesome possum.
Thank you for being here. We are in the middle of a space ghost mystery aboard the USS Parallax in our Star Trek Adventures campaign here. So, you want to kind of scrub the...
Yeah, I want to gain information because I know where the files are now.
Yep.
Hoping to gain information, spend on the basically like what the anomaly was composed of, if it had a certain like radiation attached to it or particle emission or something that would give us a lead as to like how this happened and how to reverse it, I guess. that would be the next step. Let's start with the basics first.
Just for Lieutenant Prey, Geary is attempting some trial and error as far as trying to get a source for these things, and hasn't nailed it down yet.
Okay.
So they're not gaseous emissions. They have no real substance.
It is it not? Almost as if we are being haunted.
Just because they don't have matter doesn't mean that they're beings from the afterlife, which does not exist, by the way.
Oh. I mean, that is a reasonable conclusion, and perfectly logical. I simply mean that this behaves as if it is some form of a haunting in a story. I'm sure you have read earlier Earth stories.
I was never a horror fan.
Interesting. Also, idle hands make the devil's playground, right?
Uh-oh.
So while I'm down in the biolab, is
Yeah.
there anything I can figure out about this matter we recovered, the biological matter?
Sure. Are you just gonna kind of scan it, or?
They've already done scans of it, correct?
Yes.
And we know it's sort of an homogeneous biological material. There is DNA located in it. Is it emitting a signal?
No, it is not.
Okay, because there was discussion about it being similar to, but not quite like a battery.
It's actually more like a converter.
Okay. I would like to know, or at least investigate to determine, is it living material? Are we able to replicate it? And then how does it interact with the signal coming from the fold?
Okay, sure. That will be a reason science. And that's a lot of questions. So
That's a complication, and only a complication.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna link this in with what's going on with the rest of the ship. You're running your scans. You're really examining this stuff inside it, and you begin to hear whispers emanating from the canister. And when you lean in to examine it, the matter seems to materialize into a face that screams at you before it dissolves.
Computer, please enter that into the data log regarding this material.
Please specify time code and incident.
Audio and video files for the prior 5 minutes.
Complete.
Damn it. So that information is a bust. She's just gonna keep on working, keep trying to get these questions answered, even if they're being difficult.
Okay. Back to Commander Taylor. So you're gonna look, track down this information. That will be a control computer, or I'm sorry, control. I will say control security. Yeah.
Okay. Can I use my focus in computers and assist with the ship?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll for myself first.
Difficulty 2,
Assist?
but we still have the complication.
Yes.
So
and
increased complication range.
Okay. What is the ship's role? Computers.
Oh, yes. That would be computers security. Yeah.
Computers security. Okay, so 1 success and a complication.
Okay.
What? Wait. What did you need to? Was the difficulty?
2.
Yeah.
Can I
So,
try to assist as well? With the same, what did you say? Control security?
So I don't think there was any real room to assist, because it's really
Okay.
just Commander Tellen searching the computer.
I can use our last -2. It'll be 2 successes.
Oh,
So I'll just do that.
That'll
They don't-
that'll succeed
There you go.
with
with
complications.
a
Yeah.
complication, yeah.
The you do find another ghost file that includes some astrological data from about the time that the ship or the crew would have disappeared. And the scanner data reads as a some sort of gravitational anomaly, absent of a planet, a star, like a gravitational pocket that seemed to warp space in that particular spot. And the ship, so it not a black hole per se, but it just kind of like turned space inside out in that particular point.
Okay.
And the ship had gotten as close as it could to it. There is some audio logs that are attached to that sensor data. That as you begin to listen to it, you can just hear the crew from the bridge, Helm, back us out of this. Sir, we're caught in its grip, trying, but the engines aren't responding. And then it just turns to just like screams.
Okay. This is seemingly supporting my theory of them getting reversed somehow and it being a super painful process. Yeah, I will pass that down to Prey. I guess I'll make some kind of report compiling it all together about the concentration of gravimetric fields, possibly inverting space, and attach the audio files to see if she understands that field of science more than I do.
Okay. Oh, yes, that would have been particularly nasty, but I have not experienced anything like it. You know, there was a ship that encountered something. The Orville, yes. It encountered a pocket where the space went from 3D to 2D, and any biologics that passed through it just died instantly, unless protected by special shield frequencies, etc., etc. Is this what that was? I cannot say, but yes, I think that you may be onto something, that that these things are born of some sort of gravitational fluctuation. They are stamped. They're echoes. And their presence X's you said Miller said there were some strange anomalies around them.
Yes.
Like what?
They seem to be causing fluctuations in the warp containment field. They seem to be they've reversed if I'm understanding the phrasing correctly, reversed the plasma flow in the conduits, which means that plasma is not getting vented properly.
That could be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a constant problem. I think it seems to be happening randomly. So when that effect is not happening, things are running as normal.
We are very close, much closer anyway, to big ball of at the center of the galaxy. I wonder if gravity has some unique properties around here. Maybe that's why they're just showing up. The question is, what do we want to do about them?
Dr. Madmika, you're muted, but I can see you talking.
Oh, I didn't want to be that one, but I did. Acting captain, I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
What if we were able to take a cell or an atom, and instead of nucleus being in the middle, the nucleus was on the outside, and all of the orbiting electrons were on the inside? That would mean if we could recreate that state, that would be inverting the atomic structure. That might be a starting point to see if we can undo what has been done to the crew. I'm going to start calling them the crew because I think that's who they are. It's just a thought.
I mean, I feel like we have an obligation to help them. They are Starfleet. They are sentient. They are communicating. So this is Prime Directive stuff. I like your idea. I'm worried about what kind of forces it'll generate, trying to compress the neutrons into a nucleus.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want our ship to go nuclear. We put those kinds of weapons away a long time ago.
we might be able to use a combination of the transporter and the holodeck.
Simulated.
Rearrange. Yes, but that's beyond me. I think we need someone who is versed in quantum mechanics, or possibly even temporal mechanics. It's well out of my wheelhouse.
Mine too.
If only we had an engineer who knew how to do that.
Commander Miller's like,
Lieutenant Miller, do you have anybody on your team that matches that description Dr. Madmika gave?
well, I mean, I've got some bright crew, but performing the kinds of stuff that the doctor's talking about, I have.
Particle physicists?
Particle physics. I mean, maybe as a team we could put something together. But yeah, I mean, if that's your order.
I think it's a great starting point, Doctor, to try to simulate this reaction, or simulate this effect, and see what happens to the atom. And if we can start there, if it's possible to replicate this reaction or this mechanism, then maybe we can replicate it on a larger scale and get these people back into their proper configurations.
So, Commander Miller will gather her team, and they will spend some time figuring out how to build this simulation, what it's going to look like. And like the kind of the calculus behind it. Most of the team believes that in attempting to invert an atom will force the electrons together, and there will be a cascading power buildup that will eventually explode the center and scatter the the atom. So that's
One addition
oh yeah.
to that. So we know the scattering of the atom is maybe okay, but then if we can simulate a large gravitational force like the center of the galaxy in proximity to that to see if it recoalesces. That's, I think, the information that is interesting, because the doctor brought up that, or I think you did, the proximity to this gravitational field at the center of the galaxy is maybe what's causing these people to reappear. So, like, the closer we get, maybe the more visible they will be to us.
Ooh. Okay. All right. And that your experience with these entities, as the parallax is headed away from the center, more toward Cytherian space, there is an aspect to these entities as they seem more translucent, more see-through, more faded as time goes on, that lends to that theory. And so the engineering team will get together. And their simulation just about blows up the holodeck. Without all of the safeguards that are usually present in a holodeck, their attempt to inverse the atom causes a massive explosion. And then when they start with like kind of an end state of scattered atoms to bring them in via gravitational pull, they can't get the simulation to work at that level, like get the gravity high enough to draw that stuff in, without destroying everything else around it.
Creating like a black hole in the holodeck. That's always a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going supernova, and then we're also going black hole.
And that's just day one of my captain filling in.
Yep.
Do it tomorrow to see how I can mess it up further.
I am going to rule this debate on this question. Lieutenant Tupre, do you have any suggestions, any ideas? Because I am at a loss.
At the moment, I am generally satisfied to defer to your expertise.
I feel like you're mocking me.
No, absolutely not. You are brilliant.
She doesn't have any ideas, so she's calling him brilliant. Oh, I love it. I love to pray.
I also am at a loss. The interference from the entities who are on board have disrupted the research I've been attempting to perform.
There is a report of a starboard side food processor that exploded in one of the quarters, or I'm sorry, in the lounge. And many crew members are experiencing similar effects that you did, Commander Tellin, of the motion sickness. You even had a crewmen fall off one of the catwalks in the shuttle bay when their vertigo suddenly hit them.
So, who is it? Wilson and Trosa are left.
Samson.
Samson, that's it. Yes. You wouldn't. Reports are coming in to the transporter room, or are we still there?
No, we went to the holodeck. So we're just walking around.
Yeah.
Trying. I think between the bio lab and the med bay and the holodeck, we're just making our rounds.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna head to the med bay. Seems like there's several people who need treatment, and Rosa and Samson are capable, but they are only 2 people. So the doctor turns to the acting captain and, I don't know, just says goodbye, or...
Yeah, no chance to go get more scans on this phenomenon, so absolutely.
Well,
so he heads to the med bay.
Okay.
That's it.
The entities, especially by the time that the simulations have concluded to disastrous results, the entities are becoming fewer and fewer. That moaning is becoming more sparse and less frequent.
Can I run a scan of the ship? And review logs for sensors on the ship from the last, what has it been, maybe 5 or 6 hours? To determine if there is any change in the sort of, I don't know if it's the electronic or the radio fields in the ship space, which may have amplified the effect of whatever these entities are doing, right? So is there, because that may be a key in identifying if we can sort of get them back into our space and time, right? Because if there's data there to dig through, we might be able to find out how to make them corporeal again by figuring out what makes their signal stronger.
Yes. Go ahead and give me a reason science. And the ship's sensors, since you're using them specifically, or that data specifically, sensors science as well.
And would you say deductive reasoning is an applicable focus here?
Yes.
Then I have 2 successes.
So, yeah, difficulty 2. No, 3. 3. It's good.
No help from the ship, sorry.
How many -2s do we have?
I don't think
that-
we have any.
I think they
Okay.
might have been used up.
Yeah, because you used 2 at once, and I used 1
Yep.
2 different times. So I think we're
Mm-hmm.
used
Okay,
up
yeah,
if-
and that consumed them.
Mhm.
So then we will.
No, I think
unless
that
I
would
can-
leave you with 1 more. Because
because
you were given 5. Yeah.
eventually. Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
we got
okay.
Yep.
That doesn't get me where I need to be, but can I buy a die with momentum?
You absolutely can. You'll be down to 2.
Mm-hmm. It's another success. That gets me to 3.
Gravity is absolutely a factor here. That the closer that you are to the galactic center, the stronger, the kind of ambient gravity of space is all kind of pulling obviously to the center, but the moans and groans that you've been picking up, the sensor data reads them as mechanical, i.e. the ship's hull straining, kind of like a submarine in deeper water. It contracts, and that's that accounts for a lot of the sounds. Now, as far as the entities, those are not just ships or the ship or mechanical things, but the sensors read them as almost like gravitational pockets in themselves, like just little floating clouds of gravity.
Can I try something?
Sure.
Are we able to manipulate the artificial gravity on the ship in a specific and precise location? Like, say, live into a room?
Sure. Why not?
Okay.
With the proper engineering, yes, you can.
Mm-hmm. I would like, and maybe Commander Tellin would be willing to help. Basically clear out a large-ish room on the ship, and then crank up the artificial gravity as high as it can go. Turn it to 11.
Do you intend for us to be in the room while this is happening, or can we just leave the door open?
No, I would prefer we observe outside.
Okay, great. Me too.
Oh boy, chunky salsa.
Who are you calling chunky?
All right, so to initialize that will be a control engineering, and the ship along with it will use computers. Computers con.
No successes. I got 2 14s. I needed a 13.
Yeah, difficulty 2.
I got 2 successes because I rolled a nat 1, but I also rolled a nat 20, so I got a complication. It's one of those times where you roll a nat 1 and a 20 at the same time. So yeah, 2 successes with complication, no help from the ship.
Okay.
I think that was 3 total.
There, you choose a room, and here's where I think the complication's gonna come in. Is you choose a room on the port side, where you can easily observe from outside. But once you get the computer to respond and target the room with a high level of gravity, it rips a hole in like the glass or whatever resin or whatever they use for
transparent aluminum.
Yeah, transparent aluminum. Yeah. Nobody's sucked out, but the
Force
room
field
does
go
have
off.
to pop up its force field and section off the room.
You know, we really have to stop blowing holes in this ship.
That is a logical conclusion. But given the outrageous amount of gravity in that space, we wait a little while. Do we find any one of the entities in there, and what happens to them? Are they able to manifest physical form?
Not physical form. However, the entity ceases to be staticky and takes on a defined shape of a woman in civilian clothes, kind of standing where the window was, just kind of gazing out into space.
Computer, please identify that individual if you are capable.
The computer will run an ID. And come back with a where's my there we go. A Vulcan woman named Nuri, who was the wife of a human Sam Williams, who was one of the engineering officers.
Acting Captain, it appears that extreme gravity may be the resolution to this event. That being said, if it tears apart the ship, it is not a particularly useful or logical solution to the problem. However, with additional research, we may be able to do something.
Yeah, I really think there might be promise in this alloy that we found with that container. So if there's any way that we can incorporate that into additional structural integrity, we might be able to position ourselves closer to the core to get them to rematerialize enough for us to bring them onto this side again. But I mean, effectively, we'll be doubling the crew, so there's an issue with, who's going to be captain and how will we feed these people. So we'll have to sort that out when we get to it.
Fortunately, we live in a technologically advanced, post-scarcity society with machines that can replicate food.
This is true.
The lodgings, however, are another story.
Yeah, that's where the question is, yeah.
Doubling up, I guess.
Bunk beds for everyone.
Bunk beds for everyone. By this time, you have traveled far enough away that the entities have all but faded, except for this one, as you maintain the high gravity input, one of those, in that room.
Are we able to speak with her through microphones in the room? Hello, can you hear us? And she'll give a Vulcan greeting too.
The woman turns and you see her eyes kind of search the room as if she had heard something, but wasn't sure what it was or where it came from.
I wonder if the closer we get to gravitational forces, the more we disappear for them. And they appear for us. And then when we are not near gravitational forces, maybe they can see us, but we can't see them.
Interesting theory.
There did seem
At
to be a
least for
point where
now.
we could both see each other.
At least for now, I am satisfied with this information. Shall we return the artificial gravity to its normal state, and perhaps
Yes.
repair the hull?
I think perhaps.
Hmm.
Ellen will try
we
to
do
keep a
just
straight
that.
face.
All right. I think that this is a good point for us to end our story for tonight. Thank you to all the raiders who came in. Thank you to our loyal viewers who offered up so many -2s for our crew to succeed in their endeavors of ghost, not busting, but ghost
At least hunting.
hunting. Yeah, there you go. And who knows, maybe in a future episode, our crew will be able to bring the previous crew back from the brink of negative existence. But until then, I have been your humble game mistress Winter. You can find me at gmistresswinter on Instagram and Twitter, and over at my channel, Mistress Winter's Court, on Mondays. So go check me out there if you would like. And thank you again to my wonderful cast, who I will go ahead and start with Juicy.
Hi, I'm Juicy Garland, Boston area drag queen and super nerd. You can find me on Twitter at Juicy Garland. You can find me on Instagram at juicy.garland. And you can find me tomorrow on this channel playing some Cyberpunk Red at 7 p.m. I remember time.
Yes, Cybernation Uncensored has so many other shows. There's programming just about every time slot. So do check out all the other shows available on this channel. Thank you. And Jesse.
I am just Jessie D, ecologist, podcaster, narrator, Bajoran on this channel. I wanted to thank everybody who came out last weekend to support me on the Roarcat Reads charity stream. We raised $2,100 for Rainbow Refugee, going directly to support a new Canadian arriving in Canada, fleeing persecution based on sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, or HIV status. So thank you so much. It's super important during this time that everybody just sticks together and we help each other out as much as possible. So thank you everybody for coming and supporting that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for everybody's generosity and assistance in helping making somebody's life better. I know I certainly have considered hopping the border for similar reasons, but I'm definitely not a person in need, so make sure the help gets to where it needs to be. So
for any Canadians listening, there is a petition that you can sign through the Canadian government website right now that will grant refugee status in general to people fleeing that sort of persecution, so extended to trans and non-binary folks anywhere in the world. So if you're Canadian, go sign that petition.
Absolutely. Thank you for your good works. All right, and Twisting.
I am Twisting Curses on Discord, only on Discord. And thank you to everybody for joining, for stopping by, for all of the negative twos. That was a great episode. That was awesome. That was really cool. I'm still loving this story. So thank you to everybody, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Wonderful. I'm glad you're all enjoying it. That's big part of why we're here, and we hope that you, our viewers, are enjoying it as well. So you seem to come back every week, so we're doing something right. And we hope you will join us again next week, same time, same channel, here on Cybernation Uncensored. Until then, have a great weekend, have a great week, live long and prosper, and may the dice roll ever in your favor. Have a good night.
Cybernation Uncensored.